Hey everybody, it's Dave here from Dragonhill Games, and you're watching This Week in MTG Finance. As always, and before we get started, I want to thank MTG Stocks for allowing us to use graphical information for the purposes of this video. It's been another wild week in MTG Finance, and some of these Zendikar Rising spoilers are starting to have effects on the market. So let's dive right into our top 10 list, and we're going to start right here with Boyle from Tempest. Coming in at number 10 this week, the Tempest version of Boyle is up 98% to almost $5. I mentioned Boyle in a few other videos. It's really good in Commander, especially if you're playing something like Mono Red, but it actually gets quite a bit of attention in Modern, mostly sideboard tech for things like Jund and various sort of pawns and lands destruction type decks. You can play it in Modern because it was printed in 8th, so it had a printing in 6th, 7th, and 8th. All of those printings are still under $1, so if you need to pick yourself up a Boyle, that would be a great place to start shopping. And coming in at number 9, we have a reserve list card. That would be Knowledge Vault from Legends, currently valued at almost $35, and this is up 136% this week. Kind of a cool card, especially if you can make it work in some sort of casual EDH type deck. For 4 mana, we get an artifact that allows us to pay 2 and tap it to take a card from the top of our library, put it face down without looking at it underneath Knowledge Vault, and then at any time we can sacrifice Knowledge Vault, discard our hand, and put all the cards from underneath Knowledge Vault into our hand. The cool thing is, if Knowledge Vault happens to leave play, then all of the cards just go into our graveyard. Really cool, kind of fun, commandery reserve list card. Knowledge Vault's up 136%. Now, our number 8 winner this week, Oboro Palace in the Clouds, is one of the cards that's specifically moving because of a Zendikar Rising spoilers. And this is moving because Landfall is back. That's right. Oboro has always had some value in around the sort of $20 to $30 range. But this week it's up another 136% to $55. Oboro is a legendary land that doesn't come into play tapped. We can tap it to add blue mana, but more importantly, we can pay 1 to return Oboro to our hand. So now that we know for sure that Landfall's back in Zendikar Rising, there's a lot of speculation that Oboro Palace in the Clouds will play an important role in future Commander decks. Coming in at number 7 this week, we have one of my favorite cards from back in the day, and that would be Brain Geyser, specifically the revised edition printing. Currently valued at almost $29, and this thing's up 155% this week. It almost made the top 10 list of value investments for me when I was putting together my reserve list investment video. In fact, if you're interested in checking that out, I'll put that up in the top right corner. The only thing that really kind of bothered me was that it had some support levels that were lower than previous support levels, and I just didn't really like that too much. But Brain Geyser has definitely been on the move lately, especially with some of these new commanders, things like Xyrus the Writhing Storm and others that really take advantage of drawing cards. Our number 6 winner, Vorash Shapeshifter from Stronghold, is valued at $7.50, and this is up 164% this week. Another reserve list card could be getting some attention just because it's on the reserve list, or it could possibly be getting some attention because of the new party mechanic from Zendikar Rising. Vorash Shapeshifter has, as long as the top card of your graveyard is a creature card, Vorash Shapeshifter is a copy of that card, except it retains its abilities. And you can choose and discard a card. So you can have Vorash Shapeshifter out there, discard one of the other party members, have it become one of those, and fill out your party quota from the new Zendikar Rising. Getting right back to the reserved list, and coming in at number 5, we have Second Chance from Urza's Legacy, up 187% this week to $12.67. Second Chance is a really fun card, especially in Commander. For 3 mana, we get an enchantment, and during our upkeep, if we have 5 or less life, we sacrifice Second Chance and take an extra turn after this one. Extremely situational, but could be very powerful in something like Commander for sure. Our number 4 winner is another reserve list card, and that would be Lifeblood from Legends, valued at $39, and this is up 192% this week. Super situational card depending on the opponents you're facing off in something like Commander. For 4 mana, we get an enchantment, and we gain 1 life whenever one of our opponent's mountains becomes tapped. Man, this had a crazy spike back in 2017 where it reached over $100, but most of its life it's spent living in the sort of $10 to $20 range. Like I said, super situational, could be really fun to play in some sort of casual EDH deck. Our number 3 winner is one of those that kind of baffles me a little bit. Herald of Serra from Urza's Saga, valued at $5, and this is up 330%. this week. It's a pretty terrible card, let's be honest here. It is on the reserve list, so it definitely has that going for it. But there's no reason why anyone would want to play this card or anyone would want to pay $5 for this card. For 4 mana, we're getting a 3/4 Flying Angel that has Echo, so we have to pay the 4 mana again at the beginning of our next upkeep, or we sacrifice it, and it essentially has Vigilance. The old wording for Vigilance attacking doesn't cause it to tap. Not a very good card, but it is on the reserve list, so it definitely has that going for it. Now, our number 2 winner is a card I've been toting for a while. In fact, I've mentioned it in several videos in the past as a speculative investment. Terrain Generator from Dual Decks Anthology is valued at almost $29, and this is up 625% this week. I really like this card, and now this card is getting a lot of attention because Landfall is making a huge comeback in Zendikar Rising. So Terrain Generator is a land that allows us to tap it for colorless mana, but we can pay 2 and tap it and put a basic land card from our hand onto the battlefield. Tap. Obviously, really strong if you have a bunch of landfall triggers that you can chain together, especially with something like the new Omnath that we've seen from Zendikar Rising. You can still pick up some of the other versions of Terrain Generator for the $3 to $4 mark, so if you need to get your hands on one, now is definitely the time to grab up one of those other printings. And our big winner this week is up 679%. That's right, it's Edgewalker, an uncommon from Scourge. Currently valued at $8.50. And this is getting a lot of attention because of speculation having to do with a bunch of the cards we've seen spoiled from Zendikar Rising. So there's a few different cards that mention party, and clerics are part of a party. Parties consist of warriors, clerics, wizards, and rogues. So Edgewalker allows you to play cleric spells for 1 white and 1 black less. There's also been a couple of cards spoiled from Zendikar Rising that specifically mention clerics. So it's no wonder that a card like Edgewalker from Scourge is getting so much attention this week, up 679%. Before I get into cards I'm investing in this week, as always, if you're a subscriber, you know I want to thank you for being here. I really appreciate your support. And if not, now's a great time to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I post at least 2 videos every week. And if you're looking for a way to support Dragonhill Games, head on over to our online marketplace at www.dragonhillgames.com. I'll put a link for that in the description of this video if you're interested in checking it out. Of course, we have all your favorite board games, role-playing games, fantasy miniatures, and awesome MTG products. We have a bunch of pre-orders up there for Zendikar Rising and even Commander Legends. Take a moment to check out www.dragonhillgames.com. The hottest card to get right now, especially if you need one for your own personal collection, is Crucible of Worlds, most recently printed in Core Set 2019. In fact, let's call this our value play for the week. Currently valued at $33, Crucible of Worlds has been on a slow but steady increase since it bottomed out in April of this year. With all of the landfall stuff we're seeing from Zendikar Rising, and with some of these modal dual flip cards that you can play as the land side from your graveyard with Crucible of Worlds after you've already cast it as an instant or sorcery, there's no question about it, Crucible of Worlds is poised to take some massive jumps over the course of the next couple of weeks and months. Following the same logic, I have a Ramming Up Excavator from Hour of Devastation, valued around $7, and this has been a good solid investment ever since it bottomed out around January 2018. Ramming Up Excavator is essentially Crucible of Worlds on a stick, so we have the creature version, which allows us to play land cards from our graveyard. Again, following the same line of thinking, we're going to get a ton of value out of Ramming Up Excavator with all of the new landfall stuff and modal dual flip cards from Zendikar Rising. If you're interested in learning a bit more about modal dual flip cards and how they interact with cards like Ramming Up Excavator, I did a video on this earlier this week. I'll put that up in the top right corner for you. I'm positive that $8.15 is going to be the low point for Azusa Lost But Seeking, most recently reprinted in Core Set 2021. Of course, she gets play in Commander. She also sees some Modern play, and that might be increased even more depending on everything we get from Zendikar Rising. But I'm sure she's going to start seeing a lot of Standard play. There's nowhere for Azusa to go but up from here. So I'm going to combine this next pick, Hedron Crab, with our speculation play for the week, and that's a brand new one released from Zendikar Rising, Ruin Crab. In most situations, Ruin Crab is just better than Hedron Crab. It's the same amount of mana, we get a 0/3 crab, it has landfall, and whenever a land enters the battlefield under our control, each opponent mills 3 cards. So like I said, that's actually, in most respects, better than Hedron Crab because Hedron Crab only mills a target player. However, if you're running some sort of self-mill strategy, Hedron Crab would definitely be better for you. Mill is one of those strategies that's always been on the edge, especially in things like Modern. So the combination of these two might just be enough to push it over the top. Hedron Crab has recently started to move in the last couple of days since we're seeing some of these spoilers from Zendikar Rising. So now is definitely a good time to be picking it up. But as far as speculation plays go, I think Ruin Crab is just better in most circumstances than Hedron Crab, especially in most mill decks. So Ruin Crab is going to be our speculation play for the week. I'm already pre-ordering bunches of these things. Barring a million reprints, I think there's no reason why Ruin Crab shouldn't be valued at least as high as Hedron Crab, if not more. Alright, I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode of This Week in MTG Finance. If you did, go ahead and smash that like button. It really helps me out, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.